return, and the Minnesota Vikings have taken a 9-0 lead. Jets 0-3 on third down. We're near the end of the first quarter. The Jets have yet to achieve a first down. Two receivers left, two right. Rodgers blitzed again. He'll fire over the middle. Intercepted! Yes! Picked off at the 42-yard line by Cam Bynum. And for Cam, that's his second interception this year. And this stadium, which is colored in purple, has plenty of reason to cheer. The Vikings have the ball and a 10-0 lead. Indeed, Vikings fans, we have plenty of reason to cheer with your favorite team out of the bye, undefeated. The Vikings are undefeated, and they hope to stay that way this week. And good morning, it's 9:02. I'm Paul Allen. It's 9 to noon, FM 100.3, KFAN. Maxwell Fuller, young Well, filling in for Nordo today as the producer. And 9 to noon is at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center tomorrow. We're quite excited about that. For that permits us the opportunity to sit down with Kevin O'Connell, head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, for our every Tuesday confab. And this chat will involve the Detroit Lions, who will be Aiden Hutchinson-less. Aiden Hutchinson-less into this game after my man broke his tibia in a game yesterday against the Dallas Cowboys, and it was rather gruesome. And it was part of a day that I can't speak for you, Mr. Maxwell Fuller, but man, holy cow, with the overload on the sporting activity yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, he got green and gold rolling up on your guy, Kyler, the Creator, early, so that they build up a big enough lead. They face a little bit of a jab, not necessarily a roundhouse, and certainly not a metaphorical uppercut, but they fend the challenge. So you start there. And then you get into the Motor City Kitties and the Dallas Cowboys in the afternoon, and you got Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, just out there clowning on the Lions. I don't know if you watched any of that game. Now, Micah Parsons was down, so that's key. Eric Hendricks too for Dallas, but it got so out of hand that, I mean, they're running plays where they like get it to a running back, and then they flip it to Amon-Ra St. Brown, then they flip it to Jared Goff, then they throw it down the field to the second-year tight end Sam Laporta. All right, I'm like, all right, well, that's a play. I mean, and the game's still relatively close and relatively early, but then it started to get out of hand, and Ben Johnson, who probably will be a head coach in the NFL next year, well, now all of a sudden he's running plays for right tackle Penei Sewell, and he's throwing to left tackle Taylor Decker. And I'm like, damn, doesn't somebody get the right to say uncle? I mean, the Lions were just out there clowning on the Cowboys yesterday. Sad news for Aiden Hutchinson, maybe the best pass rushing defensive lineman in the National Football League, certainly this side of TJ Watt. He broke his tibia, so he's not going to be playing this weekend for any time in the near future, and that's bad for the Detroit Lions. He's their best overall defensive player, certainly this side of Brian Branch, who had a couple of interceptions yesterday. But the Lions came off the bye, and they came off with all that offense. They got the money. The Packers got the money. The Bears got the money at Tottenham Hotspur against this bad Jacksonville team. And we just got to sit back and watch. And here comes your favorite team to host Detroit Sunday at noon, pregame at 10 with main man Muss. And that was part of a day yesterday where it just didn't stop. So now you got that. You got the afternoon games. First time all season I've watched Red Zone on NFL Network, which is pretty cool. Scott Hansen does a really good job with that.
It's a beautiful thing.
Right. And then so the kiddies are clowning on the Cowboys. And then I'm like, damn, game 2, WNBA Finals, middle of the afternoon,
right,
on ESPN. Okay, so we got to get over there and watch that. Now we're down 17 in the second quarter. We being the Lynx. This is a we, us, and our team covenant. And Cheryl Reeve, coach and president of basketball ops for the Lynx, joins about 35 minutes from now. So now you got that. You're like, okay, well, maybe they'll come charging like they did Thursday. where the Lynx won an incredibly dramatic, fun, spine-tingling humdinger against the New York Liberty in overtime, and that was super fun to watch. All right, so now let's settle in, figure out what we're going to do. Oh, wow. The National League Championship Series is underway. What? At 7:15, we got a chance to breathe? Oh, yeah, before that, we have your squad. We got the homies, and we're howling at Madison Square Garden against Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, and the Knicks. There and then the boring Cincinnati Giants game. There was just too much yesterday. And good morning.
And good morning. It was way too much, PA. My internet couldn't even handle all the bootleg websites that I was on all at the same time. It was a 3-4 screen. I wish I was Goro from Mortal Kombat, where I had 6 arms and I could have had phones in each one of them and watched every single game. It was an incredible day of sports and a perfect day.
Right.
I always miss the Vikings when they're not playing on Sunday, but you couldn't have picked a better day to have us here at the Vikings Radio Network be able to just sit at home and just take it all in. And almost all of it was compelling sports viewing, especially that Lynx game too. And then the Dodgers game ended up getting pear-shaped pretty quickly there.
Damn.
But, man, they put it on them. 33 straight scoreless innings, PA. It's an MLB record, postseason record. They tied the 66 Orioles or something like that. 33 straight scoreless innings. And keep in mind that 3 or 4 of their starting pitchers are down with season-ending injuries. It's just incredible.
For the Dodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's not to turn this into Moneyball with the league with no salary cap and like riff on that for more than 90 seconds, maybe even more than 45 seconds. But like when you lose 2 or 3 of your best pitchers, well, then you just trade for somebody else's best pitcher.
Right.
So the cat who pitched last night, now the Motor City Kitties, may God rest their baseball souls, dispatched by the Indians a few days ago. Excuse me. All right, 3-2. Hey. All right, 3-2. By the Guardians a few days ago. And Skubal, I think it's Tariq Skubal.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the bomb. But
best pitcher probably in the league.
But his 1A was Jack Flaherty. So like these Tigers, they're going to make a run, get to the postseason, make some memories. Oh, by the way, along the way, they traded their 1A. Flaherty's the bomb.
Yeah.
If you watched him last night against those Metropolitans. And so that's what the Yankees do, man. That's what the Dodgers do. That's what teams like that do. They just take something from somebody else's covenant. They didn't find, they didn't raise, they didn't coach. They had nothing to do with. It's like a mercenary type job. It's like old schoolers will get this. All right, 3-2. Charles Bronson, the vigilante. It's like the death wish pitcher is Jack Flaherty. We're just going to go get him and then wish metaphorical death upon the Metropolitans, because that's what happened yesterday.
Yeah, and it's no surprise that there's 4 teams left in the baseball playoffs. 3 of them have the 3 highest payrolls in all of baseball. I mean, that's just not a coincidence. Even the Mets, who got a nice little story going, and everybody's like, oh, the scrappy underdog Mets. Well, they spent $5 bajillion. They're not scrappy underdogs. It's just 3 teams that have more money than they know what to do with, and then the Cleveland Guardians with the power of friendship.
Right? Ours. Now, from a football standpoint, so here we go. All right, a 12-panel jaunt from an undefeated record with maybe the best team in the NFC right in front of us. Now, with Aiden Hutchinson breaking his tibia, that will change things to the equation. But Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn, the defensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator, these Detroit Lions are one of the most squared away, organized teams in the National Football League. And that there's much on which to chew when we chat with Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell tomorrow, because the Lions have tricks up their proverbial tattered sleeves. They can powerhouse run. They can vertical pass. And they, with Hutchinson, man, they had a 4-man rush that was formidable. One of the better in the National Football League, definitely taking a hit. Sans Hutchinson, but Aleem McNeil and DJ Reader on the inside. Josh Pascal is somebody they've always liked. Now he's going to be playing markedly more. But for the Vikings, they're off the bye. And now you have a 12-panel jaunt from an undefeated record, and that rocks. Then after the Kitties, you get a short week with travel. There you have the Tyro meeting the Mentor. It's O'Connell versus Sean McVay. Then the Minnesota Vikings take on the team with the horseshoe on the helmets. The Indianapolis Colts come to town. That should be a victory for the Vikings. Off to Jacksonville after that to see what the talented but enigmatic Jaguars are all about. Brian Flores versus Trevor Lawrence seems to skew the way of the road team, by the way. Then to Nashville for some bump and grind with one of Maxwell's favorite players, Jeffrey Simmons. And after that, your third in a row on the road against Caleb Keenan and the Chicago Bears. Then 3 in a row at home versus Kyler the Creator, Kirk O'Chains. My daughter likes that one, too. I never would have heard of all right, 3-2. I never would have heard of Rex Orange County or Tyler the Creator if it hadn't have been all those drives to high school with my daughter where she'd want to listen to Tyler the Creator. And it just so happened during one of those drives to high school, she's in college now, we were playing the Arizona Cardinals. I'm like, hey, Kyler Murray does anything but drop straight in the pocket and like bounce around like pocket quarterback guy. No, he creates. He's Kyler the Creator.
I like that.
Hey! I wish that game was this weekend so I could use it. And we would beat them. All right, 3-2. So during that time of the season, you got Kyler the Creator, you got Kirk O'Chains, and a second crack at Dem Bears. So 3 in a row at home at a key time. Then you're at Seattle, home to Green Bay, and at the Motor City Davie to close out festivities 2-0-2-4. Now, here's the out of the bye quick twitch for the Minnesota Vikings from yours truly, whatever it's worth. And they all right, 3-2. All right. So from 5-0, they'll sweep the AFC South this season. They're going to beat every team in the AFC South. So that's going to get you 8. Oh my God. McVay doesn't have the horses to beat O'Connell and Flores. That gets you 9.
Oh my God. Let's go.
And if you have any disagreement or anything where you don't think yours truly is seeing it clearly, then by all means jump in.
No, the AFC South is, just an absolute dumpster fire from top to bottom, pretty much, except for Houston. And they already smoked Houston.
Every team in the NFC North has a winning record.
Yeah.
It's like the Bears or the Packers. One of the two are in last place at 4-2. And the points differential, I wrote it at the desk and I left it there. Old people do things like that. The points differential in the NFC North compared to the rest of the divisions, holy cow.
Yeah. It's the first time that
it's up here hitting and sticking.
2002 that all 4 teams through 6 weeks have a winning record. Have at least 4 wins and a winning record.
I didn't realize producing the show today was Elias Sports Bureau.
I always love that one.
When I mentioned the Lynx, I'm surprised that you didn't mention they set a WNBA record by coming back from 15 points or more with 5 minutes to go in a championship game and winning the game. I'm surprised Elias Sports Bureau over that didn't have that one up his sleeve.
They don't call me Tom Froka for no reason, Pierre.
Tom who?
Tom Froka.
Froka. Walter Frokite. Hey, come on, man. All right, let's start over 3-2. All right, so I got him at 9 right there. I think they'll beat the Rams. Short week, though. And McVay's really, really, really good at what he does. But so is O'Connell. They're going to get at least 2 in that 3-game homer. Okay, that 3-game homer, Kyler the Creator, Kirk O'Chains, and Dem Bears. Could get all 3, but I think they'll get at least 2. So that's 11 right there. That's 11 or more right there. And part of it plays into something I shared last week, Thursday, when Nordo and I were at Tria Rink for the Wild's season opener. Speaking of the Wild, Mick Tockett, Pat Micheletti joins 9 to noon, an hour and 20 minutes from now. He is a hockey correspondent for Love Covenant Productions, and Mick Tockett will be on middle of the radio show to talk about the opening 3 for John Hines' Minnesota Wild. But when we were out there, I went down the road of wondering with Sam Darnold, is Sam who they say he was? Is Sam who they say he was? And that would be back to the Carolina and the Jets days. Now, my answer is no. But and I recognize, sure, football is the ultimate team game where they need to block and protect and run and catch and so much more. But the quarterback can ruin a dream in a slow, methodical fashion. So I've watched a lot back from the first 5 games of the Minnesota Vikings season and pretty much every Sam Darnold throw the last 2.5 games. And while recognizing this is the ultimate team game, I just didn't get a lot of his game against the Jets. Kevin O'Connell tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Can't wait to talk to him a little bit low key and in quasi laissez-faire fashion about this, because it was a couple of weeks ago. But I understand he may have been wounded in that game, and losing Aaron Jones on the fly, that's a tough blow. If you don't have Jones into a game, then you can work all those tricks and you can work everything you want to do to get around it during the course of the week. But when you lose him during the course of the game, I mean, that can be a tough blow. How tough was it? With Sam Darnold, I loved his cold-blooded hits. All right, so we're going to start there. I loved his cold-blooded hits to Justin Jefferson and Johnny Munt when they had to have them. When it got dicier than really anything has been from the dicey nature during the course of the 2024. And Sam was 0 touchdowns on the game. I mean, he was having to push through a lot of stuff. I'm not exactly what he was pushing through. Maybe he was wounded in a certain way that it compromised what he can do, or maybe the New York Jets changed some things when Aaron Jones left and Sam got confused. I'm not saying that he did, but I'm saying maybe he did. So in not getting his game against the Jets, I love those cold-blooded hits to JJ and Munch. I didn't love not being able to push through when in the red zone, or honestly even getting there. Now, the red zone inside the 20, as learned football minds know. And Sam Darnold, the September NFC Offensive Player of the Month, has gone a large part of the early season leading the National Football League in red zone completions, red zone touchdowns, and or red zone completion percentage. That's been a common thread up to the 5th game, really up to halftime of the victory at Lambeau Field. Inside the 20, touchdowns, not field goals. Our quarterback, in becoming the September NFC Offensive Player of the Month, leading the NFL in red zone touchdowns and red zone completion percentage. It was up around 75 or 76. I mean, that's badass right there. And that's cold-blooded. That's what the good teams do. Now, against the Jets, inside the 20, inside the red zone, Darnold was 0 for 2 and really laboring just to get there, just to get inside the 20. So we get inside the 20, and our quarterback, who's been the absolute bomb. Again, September NFC Offensive Player of the Month, and we watched it all, and it was spectacular. 2 attempts, 0 completions inside the 20 against a tough Jets defense, which plays into the equation too. Second half of the Green Bay Packers game, you open up 28-0, you're going to win. It's just a matter of how you get to the finish line. Do you get to the finish line healthy? Do you get to the finish line cleanly? Or do you get to the finish line with the beast and the jockey wearing the green and gold silks charging at you on the outside, cutting a 28-length lead down to like a 5-length lead, a 6-length lead inside the final furlong? It got a little dicey, even though I never thought they were losing that game. Second half of the Packers game, inside the 20. Again, Darnold threw 4 games, just best in show, top of the heap, number 1, red zone touchdowns and completion percentage, and either at or near the top in red zone completions inside the 20. Second half of the Packers game, 0 for 2 inside the 20. All right, 2 attempts, 0 completions. His last red zone completion was with 5 minutes and change to go in the first half at Lambeau Field, and it was a touchdown to JJ. So, we haven't gotten inside the 20, as much as they did, say, through the first 3.5 games. So that's unpackable. And when they're getting inside the 20, second half against Green Bay, quarterback goes 0 for 2, which is antithetical to how he played during the first 3.5 games. And then you lose Aaron Jones in the Jets game, and you labor to just get near the 20. And then when you do get in there, the man, for a large part of the season, leading the NFL in red zone touchdowns and completion percentage, manages an 0 for 2. So what plays into this? Kevin O'Connell, 11 o'clock tomorrow from Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center. And in a roundabout way, all of this will be broached. Is Sam, when Aaron Jones left and the New York Jets decided to rush 4 defensive linemen and drop 7 and try to confuse the quarterback, did it work? Was he consistently being fooled? Now, when you're rushing with Quinnen Williams and a resurrected, at least career-wise, Javon Kinlaw, and Max's guy, Will McDonald, who really I'd never heard of until like 3 games ago, and he's out here with like 7 sacks. Holy cow. All right, that's a wonderful defensive line. The Lions, when they had Hutchinson, McNeil, Reeder, and Owuzurike, well, that right there with Josh Pascal as a change-up kind of guy, well, I mean, that's the kind of team that rushed 4, dropped 7 with really good safeties. Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph, really good safeties. Branch had 2 picks yesterday. And their corners, Terry and Arnold and the former Buck Carlton Davis, you know, that's better than some we've seen this year, but not on par with Sauce Gardner and DJ Reader. But they're very good. So that's how Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn are trying to beat you defensively. And now they run into a Vikings team where hopefully Aaron Jones plays. And is the bit if you rush 4 and drop 7 and do it in a way that the quarterback has to wait a beat or a beat and a half. Is that who they said Sam was? I wouldn't know because I didn't critically break down who he was trying to get the ball to Robbie Anderson or Tommy Tremble or Ian Thomas with the Carolina Panthers.
I always love that one.
These guys ain't them. All right. Jefferson, Addison, Jones, Hawkinson when he returns. These guys are not those guys. And we, even without Hawkinson, we've seen a fair amount of that during the course of the season, where they've been able to be explosive. They've been really good on third down. Does O'Connell need to put Darnold on some quickies to get that stride going? And beginning this Sunday at noon, KFAN. Kevin can be competitively arrogant, and that's a compliment. He can be competitively arrogant with I'll take what I want when I want it from 20 to 97 yards down the field. But if the trigger man isn't consistently seeing it quickly enough, the plan may be kaput. Now, he mostly has this year. Came back to the pack a little bit in that London game. What did Kevin see from Sam that was different at London compared to the first 4? Kevin O'Connell, 11 o'clock tomorrow, and a form of that query will be posed from TCO Studios, the radio studio at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center. 11 or more, wins-wise, is the expectation off what we've seen the first 5, and the against whom part is large. Think about it. They won at Lambeau, which ain't easy. Ask Kyler, the creator. Outthought the thinkers when they beat the Niners and knocked the glimmer and glare off the talented and speedy Houston bit. Just knocked the shine right off everything that was the Houston Texans. Just smacked them around for 60 minutes. We've seen enough to know exactly what you, the Minnesota Vikings, to know exactly what you are capable of. And that's winning them all if you stay healthy. An added qualifier to the 11 or more wins was not needed for the defense because it has been more consistent than the Vikings offense. It's amongst the league's best in all the key metrics. And after providing a head-scratching half at Lambeau, Flores' group bounced back with tenacity and ferocity and looked amazing against the New York Jets. How about this? Every member of the Minnesota Vikings secondary has at least one interception. I mean, like Theo Jackson played a few plays. I'm talking about the core group. Everybody has at least one interception. and 13 of the 20 sacks have come from the edge rushers.
Damn.
So, like, Dallas has 1, and Patrick Jones has 5, Grenard has 4, but you have at least a sack from all of your edge guys and at least 1 pick from all of your defensive backs. I mean, that's cohesiveness. That is a collaboration. That's a collaboration covenant, with A getting to B, getting to C, getting to D, leading to a lot of W's. So who is it they say Sam is, and what do we think of this Lions game? We have a lot of time to talk about it during the course of the week, including Friday at the Friday Football Feast at Buffalo Wild Wings Monticello, TCO Studios tomorrow, and much more. You're listening to 9 to Noon with your buddy Paul Allen. Maxwell Fuller produces. Some NFL oddities transpired yesterday. We'll get into that around the corner, courtesy of TimberTech and TimberTech.com. What's on deck 9 to Noon includes Lynx coach Cheryl Reeve about 20 minutes from now. After that, the analyst Pete Bursich at 10 o'clock, Mick Tockett around 10:30. Parker Fox joins us for his weekly Stop by the Love Covenant at 11 a.m., and Super Special Cindy, the Sultan of Smog for the border battle, about 2 hours, 10 minutes from now. I'm Paul Allen. Thank you for listening to FM 100.3 KFAN. Here comes Maxwell with that cash thing.
Got some cash on deck for you. If you got the keyword, the fan and 2 men in a truck, I should say, want to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand. 3-2. The fan and 2 men in a junk truck want to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword deposit at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That's keyword deposit. Enter it now at KFAN.com. We are back to feasting, y'all. Join Paul Allen and Paul Charchian this Friday at Buffalo Wild Wings in Monticello for the Friday Football Feast. Drop in for great wings and drinks, nonstop football talk, tons of prizes, and more. Doors open at 8 a.m. Get the full details at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
So with the National Football League, rare opportunity for yours truly to watch and listen to a lot. Get another one of those after the Vikings play the Rams a week from Thursday. But NFL Week 6 had some oddity to it, and wow, was it fun watching and listening to a bunch of other teams. Consider this, like with the National Football League, Max, do you focus in, say the Vikings aren't playing? Will you focus in on one game? Will you bounce around to a bunch? Will you go to a place so that there are multiple TVs with the NFL ticket or whatever it's called these days? What do you do on a football Sunday involving the actual NFL games? And good morning.
And buenos dias. I usually will have a main marquee game on the big TV, and then I'll put on my laptop or a smaller TV. I'll put on Red Zone so I can keep peeking on the other games. But I'm all in. More so than any other sport, I will watch any and every football game. Whereas opposed to I love the NBA, I'm not going to be watching a Charlotte Hornets game on a Wednesday night,
Right.
I'll try to watch, Celtics and Lakers and stuff like that. But the NFL, I will watch any game at any time and try to consume as much as possible.
I play in one fantasy football league. Actually 2, but I got chopped in one. So I'll play max 2. I'm just never been a big fantasy football devotee. But how are we going to put this? Bless all of you, or patience and peace to all of you who watch all these games and sweat multiple fantasy football teams and scenarios and the daily fantasy bit, the underdog, Nordo's prize picks, and here's what I mean, because this is a rare opportunity for me to watch play after play from, say, Indianapolis and Tennessee. You see so many things from so many other teams, and if you're playing fantasy football or if you're betting on these games or if you're doing daily fantasy, holy cow, some stuff can be frustrating. Like this, there's a wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts named Alec Pierce. All right, well, he happens to be on my fantasy football team. So I'm like, all right. So I'm listening to that game in my ride, running some errands, and I hear the Tennessee Titans Vox Mike Keith, because I get a chance to listen to my cohorts all of them really, except those on bye. It's a rare opportunity. I really enjoy doing that. And I hear him lamenting a play where Joe Flacco missed a wide open Alec Pierce for what would have been like a 65-yard touchdown. All right. Now, Alec Pierce, we ain't turning this into Alec Pierce fan line, but if you look at my man's game logs, he has, like, he's a home run hitter. All right. He's like 3 catches, 164 and 1. Then 1 catch, 7 yards. Then next game, 2 catches, 110 and 1. He gets behind the defense every single game for these long completions. That's the reason yours truly is using him. So I hear, oh, wow, boy, the Titans got lucky there. Flacco missed Alec Pierce for what would have been a 65-yard touchdown. I'm like, you mother. Come on, bro. So then I get back home and I put on the game, and Flacco misses him again.
Oh, my God.
For a 55-yard hit. So those who follow that and watch that and pay attention to that and actually live that every single week, may God be with you, because that can just work on somebody's blood pressure and work on somebody's mood play after play if you let it impact you, especially I'm not in any big money leagues or anything. But people from a supplemental income standpoint, I mean, they're good at it. They take this seriously and they do really well. And then when you get guys missing people for 55s and 65s, those who sweat this thing every single week, man, I don't think that's you, right?
No.
Yeah, I'm praiseworthy of them. Because
same. I couldn't do it.
You can get your blood pressure down after watching all that stuff where your guys should have blown up for 20, 30, and 40 points. You get stuck on a 0. Hey.
And I'm the type of person, I'd still be thinking about it today. I'd still be like, damn, that Joe Flacco cost me my parlay. Now little Ro can't go to college anymore.
Down with that Ro. So there were just some oddities with things that took place yesterday. Not the fantasy football conundrum, but like the Raiders, all right? Without Devontae and Jacoby Myers and Aiden O'Connell at quarterback. I mean, you talk about a terrible watch. Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
The Raiders got killed by the Steelers. Well, Justin Fields was no freaking bargain either. He was awful inside the red zone, still doesn't have a swivel. So, I'm watching these games. I'm watching the Raiders without Devontae. I'm like, damn. It afforded me the opportunity to mesh what I was seeing with the Vikings' lot in life. So, Gardner Minshew's their veteran quarterback. Aiden O'Connell is their kid. Our veteran quarterback is Sam Darnold, September Offensive Player of the Month. And our kid is J.J. McCarthy, the big horse kicking down the barn, I guess would be their Aiden O'Connell. Then Kwesi locks up Justin Jefferson and Christian Darrisaw to amplify said big horse, who one day will race and win big races. And I can't say that about Aiden O'Connell. So it's kind of a lot in life check with some of these things that you see. The Jaguars, for the little bit I watched of that game, I mean, they have speed and they have grit and they have talented players all over the place. I can't necessarily say that about the Las Vegas Raiders. And then I'm thinking about, wow, man, I mean, okay, well, we got a veteran quarterback on a 1-10, Sam Darnold, and here's what he did. And GM locked up Jefferson and Darrisaw and then the free agent. Wow, man, it just further exemplified the good job Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and his staff have done with this team up to this season. Another oddity. Bears long snapper Scott Daly hurt himself early in their London game. All right, so they're down their Serpo. They're down there Andrew DePaula. So tight end Cole Kmet had to snap on 2 extra points after he caught touchdowns. He catches 2 touchdowns, and then my man staying on the field as the emergency long snapper. That would be a National Football League oddity. Speaking of that, I wonder who the Minnesota Vikings emergency long snapper is. And why wouldn't the Bears just use their center? Maybe our emergency long snapper is Bobby Tunyon. Maybe it's a tight end thing. Something to ask O'Connell tomorrow during our Coaches Covenant at 11 from the TCO radio studio, you were saying?
No, I totally agree. I was like, I never even questioned, I never thought of the idea of who the emergency long snapper would be, but right. Cole Kmet filled in, admirably.
Well, we got to think about things like that here. Why? Kicker 25 of 25. Oh,
talk about it.
Our kicker 25 of 25.
Rookie of the year, though.
Damn. Another oddity. Drake May got his first National Football League start, and he threw his first touchdown. All right, North Carolina, Tar Heels go crazy. Drake May, New England Patriots. He throws his first National Football League touchdown. It went the way of noted game changer Kayshon Boutte.
I always love that one.
Boutee. I looked it up, and I didn't even need to text Abbott with who was filling in for Nordo today, even though I did. Because when somebody named Kayshon Boutte catches a touchdown pass,
I always love that one.
I know I don't have all right, 3-2. Brett Blakemore by my side. I have Maxwell Fuller. Kayshon Boutte. May was middling. Generally was tripping out over the pressure and finished with 3 touchdowns and a couple of picks. So our guy McCarthy is the only of the Ballyhooed 6 rookies yet to play, and we are just fine with that. 6 weeks into it, Jaden Daniels is the best of the bunch, and it's not close. But it's a 25-game race before 9 to noon determines a winner between the Ballyhooed 6. And finally, Cinny at 11:35 for the border battle. Matt LaFleur ran such a beautiful play yesterday, man. LaFleur ran just a beautiful play for Green Bay's first touchdown. There were birds attempting to scratch heads through helmets because they were so confused. Ended up with superstar in the making, Jaden Reed, crossing the middle of the field, matched up on Chris Barnes, a former Packer, but he's also a linebacker.
I always love that one.
So whether it's that, McVay getting fast running backs on linebackers on passes, Shanny with his use check gotcha plays, or O'Connell constantly getting Addison and Jefferson on safeties and behind safeties, it's like these guys have staff providing them plays the others run so they can be like, oh, nah, watch this next week. So they can come up with something even cooler. It's like they're trying to outdo each other with these brilliant plays. It's competitive arrogance, and the very best of the very best have it. Speaking of the very best of the very best, the Minnesota Lynx might very well become WNBA champions. Their coach is Cheryl Reeve, and she joins next.
Don't miss the high-stakes action as the UST Tommies battle the Golden Gophers at XL Energy Center on October 26th. Enter for a chance to win tickets to this game that promises to be unforgettable now at KFAN.com keyword contest. That's KFAN.com keyword contest to enter today.
Now, Wednesday at 7 o'clock, Game 3 of the WNBA Finals. You can listen to all of the games at the KFAN. Wednesday, 7 o'clock, it's the Lynx and the New York Liberty. Game 3, it's at Target Center. Lynx.WNBA.com to get some tickets. The series is tied at 1 after New York's victory yesterday. And joining us now is coach and president of basketball operations for the Lynx, Cheryl Reeve. Welcome home, and you guys rallied to get the first one in just an outstanding, historic game with that comeback, down 15 or more with 5 minutes or less left, and you lost yesterday. So the common thread is, or you tell me, Cheryl, is the common thread chasing the game so far? Down 13 end of one Thursday, down 17 in the second quarter yesterday, and good morning.
Yeah, good morning, PA. I think you hit the nail on the head. I think obviously we were thrilled that we have a team that hangs in there. We understand it's a long game, it's a long series, etc. But to follow it up in game 2 to do the same thing to get down in the first quarter and give up a 30 piece each time, a 32 and a 31. We had it. It was about a minute and a half to go in the first quarter, and it was 23-21. And so I thought we were in good shape at that point, and then we let them rattle off, a bunch of points, 8-0 run in less than a minute. So just disappointed in obviously the starts for sure. New York's got a terrific record when they're ahead at halftime. So we gotta be a little more mindful. Not that we weren't, it's one of those things that, we clearly, everyone was aware, we all talked about it. We talked about it for game 1, how they would come out. We talked about it a lot about game 2, and so to New York's credit, they've been able to, sort of win that battle. And yesterday they won it with their defense in the first quarter. They really got after us, and our response to that, our connectedness on offense, our sharing it, moving it, was a little bit too spotty.
One of many things I really respect and appreciate about you is you wear your emotions on your sleeves. And granted, I'm watching this thing on television, but whenever they show a shot of the bench, I mean, I can pretty much know exactly where your heart stands at that moment. For instance, when Fee hits the game winner in overtime, the fist pump, and just you were so excited and full of exultation, and rightfully so. There was a point yesterday, I think you guys got down 17, and like in passing, the camera was on you. I don't know if I've seen your countenance, if I've seen your face any more mad than at that point. When they got down 17, I mean, were you just really upset?
Yeah, I just didn't think that, our effort, I don't want to be coaching effort at this point. And defensively, we were having to coach effort. We were terrific defensively in game one,
right,
with our switching, with our covering, with our ball pressure. We were on it. We were picked up by half court. And then in game two, we just the effort wasn't there. And that's a difficult space. And anybody that's been around me knows that's the one thing that will cause me to blow a gasket is that, we're going to play hard. Yeah. We're going to have the effort. When we don't have that, then they're going to hear from me for sure.
Well, and from a coaching standpoint, or just recognizing human nature gets to win too. Like, how does one make sure they are not content stealing one on the road against a favored team and keeping the pedal to the metal in the next one? And my most recent example was when Connecticut beat you guys in game one. And Alyssa Thomas, at Target Center's doing an interview, and like 5 times, well, we got game one. We came here to get 1 or 2. And I'm like, well, she's beat game 2. I mean, if that's the attitude, because they were so content getting that game. How does one get around that, Cheryl?
Well, it's hard, and that's what I said. We had the 2 days in between, and we talked a lot as a staff about human nature, as you pointed out. Well, we did not talk about either in the Connecticut series, which is a 5-game series, or in this series when we went on the road. We actually said that we don't want to have the mindset of we just came here to get one.
Right.
And so we knew, what a bind we could put New York in. If we came out, if we were toe-to-toe with them, all we had to do was go toe-to-toe with them in the first half, and it'd make it a little harder. But I have to tell you, when we got to the point where we had it to 2, that's the position we wanted to be in.
Yep.
Because then you get tight if you're in New York. You either get tight, because you're saying, oh no, this is a problem. And they stepped up, and we didn't. Offensively, we were poor down the stretch, and that was unfortunate after being so good in game one. I can credit an opponent's defense for sure, in many cases, but our execution and connectedness on both ends of the floor was not at a championship level. I mean, it was good enough to win in the regular season, but not at a championship level, and that's why we weren't able to really put them in a bind. A little over 3 minutes to go, the game's a 2-point game. Yeah, sure, we're going to take that however we got there. But overall, your point, the human nature part, having that edge, it's just is what it is. And it happens in a lot of series, not just a WNBA series. It's,
right.
If somebody can figure that out, we can make a lot of money.
Ain't no doubt about it. In all sports, too. Cheryl Reeve, coach, president of basketball ops for the Lynx. Wednesday, 7 o'clock, Target Center, Game 3, WNBA Finals. They're deadlocked at 1, off an unbelievably cool game 1. Then the Lynx came charging at the Liberty yesterday, but the New York team didn't trip out and didn't start throwing the ball away and stuff like that. So they got the money, and thus it's 1-1. And you say your team is great at problem solving. I've heard you say that multiple times this year, and I love when you say it. So, like, quick twitch, what problems need to be solved into Game 3?
I think, just like I said, I use the word connectedness. They'll tell you that. They know what it feels like when they're locked in with one another. We were a little more islandy yesterday, both ends. Just a tick, I'd say probably 2 ticks off, as far as just really having that fluid movement together. And so they know what that feels like. And so, we'll have some time tomorrow We didn't move the ball, but we didn't move the ball because we didn't have the next player sprinting up into a spot where we could move it, move it, attack it, create. I was actually pleased when we weren't turning the ball over with the shots that we got. And there were some improvements over game one, where I thought Courtney's reads when some of her pick and roll stuff, and then, they just were more aggressive when we were trying to make an entry pass. You got to get a better angle. You got to hold them off, that sort of thing. Just that extra step that you got to go.
Yeah.
Neither team's going to make, crazy adjustments.
So when Courtney scores in the 20s, it just seems that you guys, if it's an efficient 20, that you guys are such a tough beat. I mean, is that key to the equation? Her crossovers game one, those were as good as you're going to see. Yeah, they really were. I thought that New York was better at having their low defender available on Courtney's drives, and so she ended up, rather than layup, she ended up with 8 to 10 footer. But no, she's terrific in that space, and we need our big three because their big three is terrific. Yep.
Our big three and Fee and K-Mac and Court, and then they're getting a fourth. Game one, they got Phoebus, who had 17. Last night they had Laney, and so we've got to have that. And so for us, that could be anybody, but typically Carlton, has been the one, when we get that sort of, collective, but the big three has got to play great. And, we have to have that.
Boy, that beat Lainey Hamilton. I'm glad you mentioned her. I guess I didn't, I know who she is, but I didn't watch her super closely this year. Wow, she's gritty. I mean, she's a tough customer. Now, she scores 20 yesterday, despite averaging 7.5 points per game against you guys the previous 4. What got into her?
I don't know. I think, in terms of, I don't think we necessarily didn't have focus on her. She was the beneficiary of some of the rotation. And we just didn't get there timely. We didn't get there aggressively enough. And, when you have a player like Phoebus versus Laney, you mentioned the stats. Phoebus is going to be a little bit more of a longer closeout, make her put it down. Yeah. Laney is typically a shorter closeout, and she made us pay. And so we, in game we said, you got to get to her. You got to make her put it down. And so, she made us have to adjust. So to her credit, I mean, she made a 3, moving hard left in movement, behind the screen. That's a shot most of us are going to give up and just say, hey, you can have that one. Yep. I think it's the other ones, that we didn't get to. And that's a player that, you talked about gritty. I mean, Betnajalini Hamilton is one of my favorite players that I coached at USA Basketball. Her effort is there every single day. And she does those things. And we're going to have to find a way to, get that balance of, being able to guard the big three, but then obviously not letting them get those extra players. And that's a tall order. That's obviously a sign of a great team.
Time for 2 more here for Cheryl. Something that I thought was wonderful yesterday. You're an elite basketball mind. I'm not. Sabrina was tearing it up, but it seemed most of it was in transition, and then it stopped. So, how'd you get the pace to slow and change her offensive game?
Well, you hit the nail on the head. She had 12 in the first quarter. 10 were fast break points, and she knows that she has to have those points against us because the challenges that we present to her in the half court, and New York as a team knows that. That's why they're really persistent with their pace, and they've really outpaced us. And so I thought that was the biggest thing is you get it to slow down by putting the ball in the hole a little bit more, picking up your defense a little earlier. That sort of thing. And, the live ball turnovers, those are tough. That's when she's going to score.
Lastly here, and you talk about problem solving, and I just don't know how you get around this. I mean, maybe offensive rebounding. It's 30-10 Liberty through 2. Is that a lingering problem that's just difficult to solve because of their size?
Yeah, the size, so it's a combination of 2 things. One, it continues to be a roster flaw in terms of having a great rebounder. Fee really has, stepped her game up and had a great season in that regard. We have adequate rebounders. We don't have great rebounders. And I think the season-long deficiency, this is not new. We finished in the bottom 4 in defensive rebound percentage. And so I think you can't change who you are. We're doing more switching, so that's exposing it even more. But we're going to, mostly through this season, it hasn't, kind of bitten us. The differential, we're good, defending the second and third shot attempts. That's kind of an odd thing to say, but we actually are. But so the differential hasn't been enough that, of course we talk about it. Of course we're, at the end of the day, if you want to have a great rebounding team, then, you got to have great rebounders. And then insert all the comments that we're going to get about, a player that was in the draft. we certainly expect that, but,
come on,
that's the problem for the Lynx this season. But we're happy with, most of the other metrics that's gotten us this far.
Well, yeah, but you're the coach and president of Basketball Ops. You can go after the general manager. Oh, wait, that's you too. Hey, I got a chuckle out of you. That's good. I can't wait for Wednesday. Man, I've really enjoyed these games. They've been strange. This offensive rebounding thing's weird. When you slowed the game down yesterday, it was so beautiful. Then you guys went with the 2 point guards with Heidelman with Courtney, and it's just the chess match that's taking place here is just fantastic. So can't wait for Wednesday. Best of luck to you. Thanks very much for the time.
Thanks, PA. We're looking forward to being at Target Center with our great fans. It's going to be unbelievable. Game 3 and Game 4 at Target Center. We're excited.
Can't wait. Appreciate you.
Thanks, PA.
Yep, Cheryl Reeve. And listen to those games at FM 100.3, KFAN, including this Wednesday at 7. Back to football. The Analyst joins 9 to noon next.